Jean-Charles Moyen began having extraterrestrial contact experiences in his early youth when he was taken from a beach and had an encounter with some beings that he later recognized as part of his soul family. He has also served on a secret US-French joint secret space program. He has been a guest on many shows talking about his secret space program experiences, including in early France in the early years with some of the most popular radio commentators in France looking at the UFO issue, Jimmy Jules. And also he has been able to teleport into space arcs in different countries, including Japan. And he's here today to talk to us about his recent release of a movie detailing his space arc experiences in Japan and his past life experiences in Japan.
You're listening to Exopolitics Today with Dr. Michael Salla, your source for the uncensored truth regarding the human, extraterrestrial, global, and political agenda. Click the like button and subscribe to this channel. And now, here's Dr. Michael Salla.
Well, welcome, Jean-Charles, back to Exopolitics Today. It's been nearly a year since you've been on.
Yes, thank you to receive me again, my friend. I appreciate it.
Yes, well, we're recording this before the release of this video on YouTube and Rumble and Spotify. But today, this release is coinciding with the official English release of your latest video. So maybe if you want to just kind of tell us a little bit about your past life experiences and how those influenced you to make a new video, a new Starseed Revelation.
Yes, everything began when I was young. At 7, I dream some lucid dream, and I was teleport, especially I was teleport physically in a mountain in Japan, the Mt Fuji, and I remember met beings named Utsu. He was a guardian of Arks, and I was in a communication with her, and she explained to me that she was keep this spaceship from the humans, and she was in a mission. Her mission was to protect this ark. And she told me this, and she told me, you are protected by myself, and we stay in touch. And I remember it was very bright inside, but at this moment, I don't see the detail of the spaceship. After this, when I was teleported again in my bed, I have a logbook close to my bed, and I wrote everything I lived with these encounters with these beings, magnificent for me. I was 7, and I talked to my dad and my mom, and I explained what I live, and they believe me because they know I was a special child when I was young. So it was the beginning of a big adventure, because after this, I had some teleportation very strangely in my bed. Like when I say a dream, you must, for the audience, understand. I'm a kid, so I was lying in my bed, and when I closed my eyes, I felt something tingling around me inside my body. It was very hot. Everything turned. And when I opened my eyes, I was in the other place. But I was physically in the other place. Example, I was in a field. And in the front of me, there was a a person dressed in a kimono, a traditional kimono. They look at me, and I was afraid, and I fall on the ground. And when I fall on the ground, I opened my eyes, and I was on my bed. But something was in my hair, a little branch of the field. So, did I dream, or I was really there? Because when I was in this situation, I bring something each time when I was young. So I say to my parents, and my parents say, "Oh, no, 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 you don't dream, son, because you bring something." So it was the beginning of my teleportation, because after that, I had another teleportation. I was in Egypt, I was in Bahamas, and each time when I came back on my bed, my face was tan, and I had between my toes a white sand of the Bahamas. So this is evidence that something very strange happened to me, really, and it wasn't a dream.
Yes, well, this is something that we have discussed in the past with you, where in regarding to when you were young and you teleported to the Bahamas and you brought back some sand, and here you teleported to Japan and you brought back something that was evidence that you had physically traveled there, and that's what distinguishes your experiences from others who let's say bilocate, where an astral part of themselves travels to some location and they have an experience and they see everything. It looks all very realistic. But in your case, this is a physical teleportation, because when you come back, you have artifacts with you from the location that you travel to.
Exactly. And there is some other teleportation, because when I explained to my dad and my mom what's happened, it was like a game, and we have a little a lamp, look like a Earth, it's with the continent and with the country, and my dad played to turn and put your finger in a place by chance, and I say this, and this is the reason why I was in Egypt, because I was attracted by a lot of children of pyramid and something when we learned to the school, and I decided to go to the Egypt, and in the night I was under the Sphinx and the Gizeh pyramid, and this is my experience was again inside a spaceship under the pyramid, and I came back with the sand too. So I lived in a 9th floor of apartment in the middle of Paris, and I am in the night. I have 7 or 8 or 9, and how many chance to have this stigmasis on your body, or something burn, or something a branch of a tree there is nothing around my bedroom with this, especially white sand, because white sand, and the same white sand in the Bahamas. Many decades after, with Melanie, we go to Bahamas, and I say, my God, this is the same sand I had between my toes and in the bottom of my bed. And my mom was witness, because when she made the bed, oh my God, what's this? What is possible? There is a lot of sand in your in your bed, because I bring back with.
Yeah, that is quite amazing that you, at that early age, were able to, just because you had a strong desire to go to a place, that you would teleport there, and that was something and you have talked about that in the past for many other examples where you spontaneously physically teleported to a place. So with Japan, and let's kind of like set the stage here for this kind of past life in Japan. You're in 1976. You're 7 years old, and you meet and you teleport to Japan, and you go inside of the mountain, and you meet this Utsu. So who is Utsu?
Utsu is the guardian of this ark. There is a legend with another beings named Utsu was on a boat, curious boat in a legend in Japan, and she was on the beach, and she was a very special face, and nobody of a fisher understand where she appeared like this on the beach, and she had under his arm a box of wood with something inside. And when I was in a museum, it's described in the papyrus. In the box there is a crystal, and I remember inside the spaceship there was a crystal. There is a lot of crystal inside the spaceship. So the crystal was so important for the spaceship, and she was a guardian. After she was in a bad state on the beach, and she rescued her. And after this, she disappeared. Nobody knows where she go. But the legends say she was inside the mountain. And in the mountain, there is the same beings named Utsu. She protects the ark, and she had a crystal box under his arm. In a papyrus, in the museum, we saw the same beings with a little box. And it's right in the whole Japanese language, because Mariko translate for me, and she's told me, "Oh my God." And I say, "What?" It's right inside the box. It's right, there is a lot of crystals. And it corroborates what you saw inside, because there is a crystal under a panel in the front of a big bubble. It was a portals, and it looked like a liquid. When you put your hand inside, it's not wet, it's like a hot, and you feel like a tingling, but it's a good sensation. Yes, exactly. There is a blue crystal and a purple crystal on the panel, and when I approached to the crystal, it was lighting, light off, light in, light on, light off. I was interact with the crystal inside the ark.
It's very interesting that you describe this portal as like shaped like a sphere and kind of liquidy, because that is exactly what JP described when he encountered a portal in the Atlantic space arc, that he described it as exactly the same, as a kind of bluish floating sphere of water.
Exactly. And during my life, I grew, and I practice martial arts, especially the ninjutsu. It's the martial arts of the ninja, and the ninjutsu is very important in Japan, because the ninjutsu ancestor is a tengu. As a tengu is a beings learn the martial arts, the essence of the martial arts. And Utsu and the tengu is link. I explain. When we visited you in Hawaii with Melanie in 2020, I remember we were in a car, and in a curve of Big Island, we discovered a cemetery, and there is an old tomb, a grave, old in Japanese rites. And I decided to stop the car because I felt something attract me at this moment. I don't know why at this moment. It was 4 years before I met Mariko. So I was in the front of the grave, and we take a picture. And Melanie too, in the front on another grave, she was attracted by another grave, and we take the picture. 3 years later, we asked to Mariko what's its translation, and she told it's a Kono sun, the son of the Kono. And Melanie, in the grave, it was right Kono. But at this moment, we don't know who is Kono. We know Utsu. I know Utsu because I was young. But Kono is the goddess of the Mount Fuji. But we are in Hawaii. How many chance to be on the grave of someone put a clue for the future? And in a 2022 adult, I was teleported again in the front of Utsu. She recognized me at this moment like never years spent, like yesterday, but it was many decades when I was young. And she was very happy to see me. And she explained me the spaceship. And at this moment, I had a lot of detail inside. There is a kanji, like luminous kanji, light on and light off when I approach from the panel with a lot of crystal. And she explained to me that I was welcome again. And after this, we visit the spaceship with a big corridor. There is a lot of bright light, but we don't know where the light came. It was exactly. It was very, very, very bright. And after that, my head turned and I opened my eyes on my bed and I was, oh my God, I need more information about this. And the next day, my ear ringing and I felt fall in my bed and my head turned and I opened my eyes and I was in the front of Utsu. And she told me, I want to introduce someone very important for me. And at this moment, another portals open in the front of me like a bubble water, and get out the water, the portals, another beings. And this beings was named Kono Ana Sakuya Hime, the goddess of the Mount Fuji. And she explained to me that the Japanese people came from the stars and was very, very, very ancient people. That's very amazing because when I was in a spaceship during my duty in a space force, I met a Japanese people in the corridor. So it corroborates.
Very interesting that when you were in the space program, secret space program, you saw Japanese people.
Yes.
And here you having an encounter with first you have Utsu when you were 7 years old, and then when you teleported back in, I think you said 2022?
2022, yeah.
Yes, in 2022, then Utsu introduced you to this being, Kono, and that being, there's a connection there with this grave that you saw in Hawaii that was had referred to the son of Kono.
Yes.
Very, very interesting. And so there's a Hawaii connection here between Mount Fuji, because you described going inside of a space ark in Mount Fuji, and that's and Utsu is the protector of the space ark in Mount Fuji, and then you met Kono, and there's this Hawaii connection. And so, can you tell us about the space ark in Mauna Kea in Hawaii?
Yes, when I was in the front of Kono, she told me, follow me, and another portals open, and we enter inside. And first of all, it was dark, and she told me, "Do you know where we are?" And I say no, and she told me we are in the Mauna Kea, because the Mauna Kea is connected with the Mt Fuji. And after that, she explained to me that there is a connection inside the Earth, under the volcano, with the different portals, and they connected to the inner Earth.
Okay, so Mauna Kea is connected to Mount Fuji in Japan through these portals, and these portals and tunnels are connected throughout the planet, and into the inner Earth. So can you describe? You described being inside of Mauna Kea, and that Kono was all black. What about the space ark in Mauna Kea? What did you see?
The first time I was inside, she told me we are inside the Mauna Kea in the ark, and my head turned, and I wake up, and I was frustrated, and said, "Oh my God, I want more information." And the next day, I was teleported at the same place in the dark, and I say, "Light, light," and I say, "It's me, it's Hoshi," and at this moment, everything light. I was in the front of the panel, and there was Kono in front of me, and she told me, "Follow me." And I follow her, and she explained to me that this ark was connected with another ark and another ark. Each ark was connected in a word. But she told me each ark had a name. And the name of the Mt Fuji ark was Omega. Omega. When I explained this to my dear friend Mariko, she told me maybe the name of the Mauna Kea ark is Alpha. So it will be Alpha and Omega, the beginning and the end. That's very interesting information. And she explained to me to put my hand in something, and hologram appear with every island term, and with all connection between all island in Hawaii. There is a tunnel, and they would go inside the Earth, maybe called a gutter, or everything you name, but the inner Earth exists with different beings. And she explained to me that something very huge will happen in the future. I don't know if the Japan collapse, but I know that each time there is an earthquake, some new continent, some land rise. Maybe it's a Mu.
Mm-hmm.
The Mu land.
Now, from what you saw, was the space ark that was buried under Mount Fuji identical to the space ark that was in Mauna Kea?
Sorry, I don't understand.
Like, is the space ark in Mount Fuji, inside Mount Fuji, is that identical or similar to
Yes.
Mauna Kea?
the difference was the inscription was not kanji. It was another. It was looked like a glyph and kanji, but it looked like Greek. It was very ancient, and I'm not a specialist of all the ancient language, but it wasn't Japanese. It was a mix of different language. Maybe it was Atlant. Maybe it was more older than this, but I remember it was bright and it was light on, light off too. It was pulsating. Each time I enter, there was a crystal, but there was the different in Mauna Kea was the portal was on the top. There was not vertical; it was horizontal, like this. You can put your hand and suck by the end.
So this portal was on the roof type thing.
No, this was inside the Mt Fuji.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and the other, I have another image. The other was on the roof because I can reproduce the things, but it was it was
on the ceiling.
On the ceiling. Sorry, okay. I searched my ceiling exactly, and when it was like a suspension, like a levitate. But the water don't fall. It was like this. Mm-hmm. And you can enter your hand and suddenly you are attracted by something pull up.
I see. You're kind of pulled up. So in both cases, Utsu called you Hoshi, and when you were in the space ark in Mauna Kea, you said this. You said that name Hoshi. So
yes.
So what's the connection between Hoshi and the space arks?
Hoshi mean star, like a star seed. And when I was young, at 7, I come back. I remember my past life in a village named Sendai, and I discover with Mariko and Masa that the name of a family in Sendai was Hoshi. That's curious because there is a many village and very city in Japan, but this city Sendai was family name was Hoshi. And when she called me Hoshi, I was 7. I enter. She was in front of me, and she she introduced herself, and she tell me, my name is Kono. Hello, Hoshi. And I said, my name is not Hoshi. My name is Jean-Charles. But I like Hoshi, so okay. It was, stick in my head. So after, I don't know at this moment, I write Hoshi on my logbook, So many decades after, I discovered that Hoshi means star, like a star seed. So that's very, strange that the stars follow me again at this moment.
I see. So when you were 7, you met Utsu, and you also met with Kono. And
no.
Okay, Kono was later. That was when you were in 2022.
Exactly. Kono was in 2022. First of all, I met Utsu.
Okay, and she called you Hoshi.
Exactly.
And then Kono called you Hoshi in 2022.
Exactly.
So there's some connection between Hoshi in your past life and the space arks.
Exactly.
So yeah, can you explain what is that connection?
The connection is, first of all, before I was Jean-Charles in this life, I was Luka, another beings. And Luka was, green skin, red eyes, like Victor, because he was really my brother. We came from the planet Ultima. We are Ultimian. People live in Ultima. And during a different incarnation and different mission, Luka was in a different body, in different incarnation. And Hoshi was in this incarnation and to John Charles' body too. So everything Luka lived in different incarnation, I have the memory of this. And in different incarnation, I had my all abilities like teleportation, telepathy, and telekinesis, everything I kept. So this is the reason why she called me Hoshi, because she know my real soul. She know me, but she don't know John Charles. She know the real beings. That's very important to clarify. Many of us lived a different past life, but some past life are very mark your soul more than other. And this, I was connected with Hoshi because Hoshi had a lot of abilities too. Because in my movie, I explain the teleportation with different, I can't spoil, but that's explained inside. And if you remember my Starseed Revelation 1, 2, and now 3, you are able to make the link of why me and why I am in contact with different space arc, because Luka was in contact with different reality and different life inside Earth and in other dimension and in space. Because what I did when I was Luka, that's the same thing now as John Charles. But that's Luka here, and there is a many different life, and I have the memory of this, and I live the same thing at the same moment.
Okay, so just to kind of like understand this better, then. So in the year 1175 or around that period, you had incarnated in Japan and the name was Hoshi, but the being who had incarnated was Luka, which is your soul. And so Luka had incarnated as Hoshi, and because Utsu and Kono both recognize the name Hoshi, that suggests that at that time they interacted with Hoshi, that you in that past life was somehow connected with the space arcs.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. So do you know exactly what it was? What was the connection to the space arc? Because we're talking 1175. I mean, this is the feudal era of the planet, and so what's someone who has a feudal existence, or what's the connection with the space arc?
Because I was a part of the space arc when I was inside this. This is the reason the space arc is alive inside. It's. I don't think it's a complicated to explication for, but this spaceship is alive, is a technology alive. So he recognized my frequency. That is the reason each time I was in Ark, in Peru or everything, in Bahamas, they react with my energy because he recognized me, because he know that in the front is Luka, Hoshi, John Charles. I change the body, but my soul is the same. We don't trick this. And the Ark know the truth, and he know who I am. He know I am Luka. And Luka was a lot of lives in space mission, space arc, and there is a different space arc in a different planet, in a different dimension. There is not only space arc in Earth, there is a lot of space arc in a galaxy. But I visit some and they recognize me because sometimes in a mission, we were with this arc and deposit the arc on the place in the mission. The mission was to protect the ark and take the ark in Earth and take the ark in Bahamas. And this is the reason why when I enter inside, hey, I recognize you, you know? So this is the reason I'm connected with ark, really connected physically. Because when I was in Antarctica, their beings light on and light off because they recognize my frequency. It was the same thing in the Bahamas. It was the same thing in Egypt.
Now, with Utsu, who you described as the guardian of the Ark, is she really, in reality, the organic consciousness of the Ark? Is she like the spirit of the Ark, of the Ark in Mount Fuji?
Yes. I remember I saw Utsu get out the portal, but once I saw Utsu get out the wall of the spaceship. Like, she take a form and she, you know what I mean? It looked like she was inside the matter of the spaceship. Maybe this is the consciousness, but she materialized in front of me and she looked like a beautiful woman, Japanese style. But when I come back, she disappear and enter inside the wall or inside the crystal like this. And she get out when she meets me.
I see. Now, would so if Utsu is associated, or actually the consciousness of the Ark, is Kono, and you described her as also the guardian of the Mount Fuji, but she's also connected to the Mauna Kea Ark. So is she the consciousness of the Mauna Kea Ark, for example?
I think Kono is more than a spirit. For me, I think we call goddess because the goddess is the extraterrestrial name. Some people say the goddess of, but it was extraterrestrial. We name goddess, but every god for me is not came from here. They came from another dimension. They came from another universe. So I think really Kono is a extraterrestrial beings, very, very strong. And she has the abilities to travel through the time, to travel through the dimension. And she was associated to the Mount Fuji because she appeared in many legends only on this mountain, because this mountain is the center of the universe. They say, Japanese people say, the Mount Fuji is the center of the universe. That's amazing, because when someone tell me this and I say, are you sure? Yeah. They told this in the different book, and I spoke with the different people, and they told me this. It was of Mauna Kea is a higher mountain in the cosmos. It looked like, I remember I found in the internet, and they said the mountain of Mauna Kea is the more higher mountain of the Earth in the top, and it was the same mountain in Mars, the Olympus Mount, and they was connected by a portal with the Mauna Kea and the Mars mountain by and I look and I say the information, and they was connected Mars and Mauna Kea too. But there is a connection with extraterrestrial too. with the Mauna Kea.
Yes, that's important. That Mauna Kea on the Big Island of Hawaii actually is a mountain that begins at the bottom of the Pacific. I think it's if you add the distance from the bottom of the Pacific where Mauna Kea begins with its peak, then it is the tallest mountain on the planet, and it's a massive energy vortex. So it's interesting that it has a space arc in it, and that Mt Fuji has a space arc in it, and that they are connected, but that you in the incarnation of Hoshi back in 1175 was born in the town, or was raised in the town of Sendai as a kind of ninja. So because your name was recognized by Utsu and Kono, it suggests that you had something to do with the space arc at that time. So I mean, you have your past life memories of being Hoshi in Sendai, but do any of those past life memories have some connection with this ancient extraterrestrial technology buried in Mount Fuji?
I had a memory with Atlantis. Okay, yes, Atlantis is okay. English. Yes, with Atlantis. Yes. I remember lived at this moment, and I remember a lot of detail, but I never disclosed this because some memories was break. But I remember the arc of Atlantis is maybe the same in the Bahamas, in the triangle of Bermuda Triangle. That's my point.
All right. So your past life in Japan,
yes,
there's some significance to it in terms of the space arcs in Japan, in Hawaii, and also in the Bahamas. That Atlantean space arc.
Yes,
that was there.
And I some people told me there is a I don't know if it's correct pronunciation, but the mu, the
mu, yes,
it was in Japan.
Mm-hmm.
It was so, maybe the arc of Mount Fuji is connected with the mu, land, people, ancient technology, and we know that at this moment mu was advanced technology, and there is a extraterrestrial technology with Atlantis, mu, and a lot of old and maybe there is a connection, and the earthquake maybe can awaken something will rise in the future, but very soon.
Now, in your movie Starseed Revelation 3, you describe the life of Hoshi and what happened to him and what happened to his family, and so we don't need to go into detail here, but you describe an interesting portal experience where Hoshi, after a tragedy, teleports almost 600 years into the future. You want to explain that?
Yes, in the Mount Zao, the mountain Mount Zao. I read, and there is a few months that the legend say there is something strange with the time lapse inside the Mount Zao. Some people were climbing the mountain in the legend and disappear 1 week, and when they reappear, it spent a lot of months, and there was dress like yesterday. So this is the mount where I disappear in Sendai after the tragedy. So that's very important. And there is a lot of plane fly and disappear like a Bermuda Triangle. There is a lot of legend around the Mount Zao. So the Mount Zao, when I was inside in my past life, I explained there is a tunnel, and I suppose in the tunnel there is a like a time wall, and when you pass through, you go to another timeline. This is a reason why I was after that in a few century and reappear after. For the people discover my movie, they will understand what I say now. But the Mount Zao is a mysterious mountain. Again, a mountain.
Yes, so that's a mountain in Japan that has a portal that you entered into around 1175, and then suddenly you're in the year 1750 and you're
Yeah.
disoriented. But you essentially traveled through a portal, and I guess you probably lived out your final years in 1750 after this tragedy of your family being killed. But that's in the movie. People can get the full details.
And the curious thing is, excuse me to cut you. The curious thing is, after that, I live my life, but I disappear. I don't say I'm dying. I disappear again. Maybe I go through portals and come back to a spaceship, and Luka say, "Okay, it's enough experience. Okay, go another experience," because I disappear. I wasn't killed.
Mm-hmm.
So each time, oops, disappear like by magic, or teleportation, or another dimension timeline.
Okay, so now this is a past life memory, and you had the meeting in 1976 when you were 7 with Utsu,
Yeah.
and 5 years later, in 4 years in 1981, you wrote about the story of Hoshi and actually your best friend Yoshida.
Yeah.
So you want to explain, what because this is all documented in your journal that
Yes.
that this is like evidence that this is not something recent that you dreamed
Yes.
up. It's like it's there over 40 years ago. So you want to explain what you wrote in your journal.
Oh, okay. I guess you show the journal. Okay, I will explain. Okay, I remember my past life, and I draw my village with with what's happened in my village, and there is a little house, and I explain the little bridge and everything I draw when I was young. And each you see at this moment, I found the same detail on the old papyrus in the museum of Sendai many centuries ago. So that's insane, because when I was young, at 7, 8, 9, 10, how could invent this detail, and 46 years later found this detail in a museum in Japan with an old inscription. So this is my village, and there is a mountain, but it's a child drawing, so it's it's not precise, but I explain everything in my documentary again, so I can to say too much because we get out the detail of the story. So, but yes, this is my drawing when I was young.
And that's very important, because it's like this was drawn by you in 1980.
Exactly.
You're 12 years old, and what you drew matches the historical record of the city of Sendai,
Yes.
going back to 1175.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, which is quite remarkable. All right, so now as far as the documentary is concerned, I mean that has been released already in Japan, but it is being released today.
Yes.
Today, October 23, it's being released in the English-speaking world. So you want to tell us, anything about this release that people need to pay attention to?
Yes. First of all, the important thing was for me, for the premiere. Premiere was in Japan, in the cinema, in Yokohama, because the movie was dubbing with my voice in EA in Japanese. There is a lot of people, 300 people, was very amazed public, and it was a success. And it was very important for me to did this premiere in Japan because my story began in Japan. Now the other premiere in English language will be in Dallas, and it will be in 2023 on Vimeo for the rest of people, in French too. So I'm very exciting that you discovered this story. So it's another part of my life. You know my story about the secret space program, but with this new story about my past life is connected to extraterrestrial beings too, because I'm in connection with the Ark, and it's not only past life in feudal Japan. It's everything is linked, the being's name, goddess or god, is every time is connected with extraterrestrial being, because they have abilities. They can travel through the time, they can heal people, they can teleport, they can telepathically. So it looks like extraterrestrial. So this is the reason why I did this movie, because it's a part of my trilogy of Starseed Revelation, and it was very important for me to do this entirely a picture of my life. I'm not finished to explain my life, but that's very important. That this movie is a key, is a trigger for memory of people, and to say to audience that the past life exists. That's the evidence is inside the movie. You have the right to believe or not believe, but there is a lot of evidence inside that you can think a lot after watching this.
Well, you do that in all of your Starseed Revelation series. You present a lot of evidence, a lot of substantiating information for these remarkable experiences that you've had. So in addition to teleporting to space arcs, having
brainwave
on secret space programs, and now we can add to that these past life memories of having lived in Imperial Japan and being connected with the space arc there in Mt Fuji, which I assume is probably regarded as very, very important for the Japanese psyche and the Japanese space program, the secret space program.
Yes, because I discovered in a website of the Japanese Space Force, there was an agreement with American Space Force, and the logo of the Space Force, Japanese Space Force, look like strangely with the logo I have here. This is a sphere with two rings, cross, and when you look the logo of the Japanese Space Force, it look like this. So Some people say to me, in the temple, there is the same symbol of some temple, a ring like this, and a sphere. And maybe it's a other chance, but someone told me this. So, the Space Force, Japanese Space Force, was agreement with Japan with American Space Force. The next day, I did my interview about Kono. I take a picture with the date, and it was the next day after my disclose about my story about the Ark, and someone sent me an email and say, "Hey, did you see that?" And I say, "No." And he sent me the page, and you look, and it's this. The next day, I talk about my story with Kono and the Ark of Mt Fuji, and the base close of the feet of the Mt Fuji, with a military base close to Mt Fuji. They say that it's a meteor, but no. There is a lot of witness about something get out of the Mount Fuji. So in the 2025, there is many weeks, I have the chance, my friend, to take a picture I sent you when I was in the front of Mount Fuji. Remember this bright light, blue bright light, like a cigar shape on the top of Mount Fuji. The Japanese people was witness about that, and they take another picture, and there was a tic-tac just after minutes go away. And she say, "Oh my God, we are witness." And in my phone, there was this amazing picture with a lot of witness. We were together, and that's yes, exactly. Look at this. Tell me, that's insane, right?
Yeah, that is an amazing picture right there. So that's a photo that you took,
yeah,
of Mount Fuji, and there we have. What is that? You think it's a tic tac? It looks pretty big.
I was in the front in an other mountain, and I think at this moment I think to Kono, and I take a picture because there is a lot of cloud, and that, oh my God, we saw clearly the Mount Fuji, and I have felt something bizarre. I take the picture and I say, "Oh, look at this," and people say, "What?" And I say, "Oh my God!" And in my eyes, we don't see nothing, but when I take the picture, this appear at this moment. And during our travel with Melanie, Kono was with us. I felt the energy of Kono. And when we were in the shrine, something happened. I can tell you now because Mariko put a video, but I don't have the video now. But imagine I am in the front of the temple of Kono, and I was like this. Thank you, Kono. And Melanie filmed me with the phone, and another friend of Mariko filmed the same thing. And in her telephone, there is an energy flow, and I was like this. And she said, "Oh my God, Kono is there. There is a magnetic perturbation. There is no light. It's only wood, no electricity, nothing." Okay. After that, I go under a shrine with a crystal ball. They can move with the wind, and it's tingling, ding, 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 ding. It's but no wind, nothing. I go under. I open my arm, and I say, "Hello, Kono. It's Hoshi. I'm here. I'm home." And suddenly everything was filming. Okay. I can prove everything I said. It's ringing. The wind enter, and people would say, "Oh my God, what's happening?" And the ring of 100 crystal balls, ding, 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 ding. It's 5 minutes, like a show. And in the phone of the person. We saw this, and everything was mixed. The screen moving, there is a magnetic field inside, and I say, look, it's only when I'm filming John Charles happening. My phone is new, it's never happened. And when I film another person, there is nothing. When I put the phone to John Charles, there is something happen, another proof. And after this, we have this photo. So this is the evidence that something was around us and protect us, and was traveling with us. And Mariko say is to welcome Hoshi. I'm very glad to see you at your home. That's amazing evidence. And this is not my video, this is a video of Mariko friends. So
Perfect.
yes.
So, Jean Charles, just to change the subject a little bit to contemporary events, people are talking a lot about Three Eye Atlas, and there's a lot of interest in it. So, what do you know about Three Eye Atlas? What is it really about?
That's interesting question, my friend. There is different thinking about this. Some people say it's beautiful beings, love, and everything, and it's a very popular subject at this moment. And Melanie told me, "Hey, honey, why you don't try to watch what's happened with this Three Atlas?" And I say, yes, I will try. And what I found is not the same thing of people. I'm so sorry before I explain, but once again, I don't want to afraid people, but this is my point of view. This is what I felt. Okay, that's important. So first of all, I was in my my bedroom and concentrate myself, and I am my head ringing now. That's curious. Very loud. And I felt something around me tingling, hot. And when I closed my eyes, I opened my eyes, I was in space. And I was in the front of a big rock, like a cylinder. And under and around this, there was a powder of ice, very bright. And, it was very cold. And I approached. And when I approached, I remember felt something very strange. I explained, a snake, a viper, when she look at you and stare in her eyes, you felt something very, very creepy, very, you are not okay. And at this moment, I felt exactly the same energy I felt when I was young in the front of a Draco reptilian.
Mm.
And I say, oh my God, why? Because first of all, when I began to try, see, watch, detected, enter in contact with this, it was with love, with pure light. It was very curious, and say a lot of people say this or remote viewing this, and I will try. But I don't think at this moment, reptilian, Draco, no way. So my mind was empty. So I approached, and suddenly I felt this energy. And when I approached, it was like an hologram, and it disappeared, and I look a spaceship with a light and everything, but it was very like dark, and it was like alive too. He moved like this, like a glue, like black goo. But he was alive. And when I decided to enter, I was eject. Boo! Like this. And I felt electricity, like when you touch something very strong electric and you take a charge. And I say, oh my God. And at this moment, I felt the Draco reptilian energy. So I was, inside my body, I felt very bad. And I say, I can't tell this to anyone because that's, first of all, inverse of a lot of people, of a friend of mine. They say it's a light, it's a love. And I was, shy, and I explained this to Melanie, and she told me, oh, yes, that's curious because that's really inverse that a lot of people explain now. And, I keep this inside of me and just talk to my close friend and I say, okay. And suddenly I was in contact with a guy named Sebastian Martin, a good guy. He is a remote viewer. He's a French guy. And I saw the Gaia episode, and you know what? He explained in a remote viewing, felt an army of 1,000, of 1,000,000 of Draco reptilian in stasis inside the tree atlas. And I was speechless because I say to Melanie, how many chance to have another guys say the same thing? We don't disclose this. No one, just in my house with my wife. So he said there is something inside and it's not like some people explain. And I say, oh my God, I began to research and I heard that Kerry Cassidy say the same thing and talk about the CERN in Switzerland, that they open a portals with a collider, hadron collider, and they communicate with the tree atlas, and the communication was Draco reptilian. And I say, what? And when you ask me, my friend, do you have information about Three Atlas? I told you, yes, but that's not the same. And you say, oh, go ahead. Go ahead. It's important, Jean-Charles. We have a different point of view, and that's okay. But I don't want to lose friend for this, because I love people. But you can stay friend with people with a different, different view,
Mhm.
So, voilà, I prefer to say this is what I saw, but everything is possible. But I know that's different. So I join the same thing of Sebastian Martin because we don't know each other at this moment more than we are in the internet, and that's it. And when I saw the episode of Gaia, I was speechless. And this is the first episode, and there is a 5 or 4 episode at the same subject. And we don't talk about Swan. The Swan is 100 bigger than the Atlas. 100.
Okay, well, before we talk about Swan, it sounds like you have some information about Swan as well that you want to share.
No, I don't have a Swan.
Okay.
Not now, but I realize that Swan is more closer from Earth now, if I don't made a mistake, than Atlas is close to Mars, right?
Yes, I don't know the exact distance between Swan and Earth, but yeah, it's much bigger than Three Eye Atlas.
Exactly. So, and there is something, another thing. We know that John de Souza talk about this. There is a many months and years. The false flag, too. So there is many things very creepy, because after the 3 years of darkness, you know what I mean? And they say, okay, we lost what we want to, depopulation. Now, what can I invent to afraid people? It will be a false flag of a false extraterrestrial invasion. Maybe. So there is something in the air that's floating, that we don't know what will happen in a few weeks, in a few months, but something will happen, because they cut the communication about the James Webb. This is the reason why they cut the images, why they cut the communication, because we were witness of something very bizarre. You told in the post yesterday, I guess. That's very bizarre. That a lot of telescope is shut down.
Mm-hmm.
Why? If it's good, why they cut this? That's humanity. Amazing information for humanity. So let's show us what's happened in space. Why they again hidden what's happened? Maybe they prepare something and use this to afraid people again and again, because that's the deep state did.
Well, that's interesting, because yes, there's been a lot of rumors about a false flag operation involving an alien invasion, and Three Eye Atlas seems to be something that people are looking at it and coming up with very different explanations. I mean, I actually did a paper that just came out, and you probably saw it. But yeah, I mean, this paper looks at 11 perspectives on Three Eye Atlas. And one of the perspectives was very interesting, because I didn't know about you, and I didn't know about Sebastian Martin. But John Vivanco, he's also a remote viewer, and he talked about seeing reptilians on this craft, and that they were in a battle with the Nordics that were in our solar system. So this was John Vivanco's perspective, and then I heard Sebastian Martin talk about the Three Eye Atlas is actually having 5 million Draco reptilian soldiers on it in stations. I've heard Kerry Cassidy's take that Three Eye Atlas is an Anunnaki reptilian ship, but what you've just described I find to be very alarming, disturbing, or however you want to describe it. That there may be some Draco reptilian kind of like presence on this Three Eye Atlas. So yeah, that is very disturbing, because it does raise the possibility that this kind of false flag alien invasion may actually have something real behind it.
It was the reason why I asked you, are you okay? For I'm not responsible for people believe this or believe that, and that's okay. We have a different point of view. And first of all, what's disturbed me is at the moment I decide to put my energy and discovered what's happened with Atlas, I don't have in my mind Draco or nothing, any clue, nothing. It's like a remote viewing, like Tony did with no information, just a number, and he is able to find some huge information with just a number. So imagine. I don't know if Tony did that, but you'd say, "Oh, what is this?" And you have no information. What is this? Just what is this? And the guys say that's a spaceship, and there is a Draco inside, and you are speechless because you say, "Okay, how he knows that?" Because he has information. This is the same for me. For me, I don't believe it was a Draco at this moment. I was, okay, my dear friend Lily Nova say it's a good beings, and a lot of people say it's there is no team, no extraterrestrial inside. There is just a consciousness, and say GP say there is a someone inside, I guess, huh?
Martians. He saw Martians, returning Martians.
So GP say another thing, but he say there is someone inside. Some people say there is nobody inside. So I don't believe that. There is something inside. But for me, there is something inside, but that's not good. Once again, John Charles, I say this, okay? Don't believe what I say. Just I say I felt this. That's it, okay? That's important. I'm not sure 100%. But what is very strange, that's the disclose of a remote viewer, professional remote viewer, Sebastian Martin. And he says this, and Kerry Cassidy, and the other person you told me. So I say that changed my mind and say, why not? I don't say it's this, but I say, why not? Take a different, listen everything, what's resonate inside of you. Maybe I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong.
Okay. Yeah, well, I think, if just talking about the paper I just released a few days ago, I looked at 11 different perspectives on 3i Atlas, including Lily Nova, and ultimately what I came up with that these different perspectives fell into three categories. One was that the 3i Atlas is empty; there's no one in it. Other than a consciousness of the craft. The second perspective is that it's potentially hostile or enigmatic. And the third perspective is that it is positive extraterrestrials. And of course, your information matches what John Vivanco and Sebastian Martin and others have been saying. So this possibility comes to mind. How can we have three different that people describing 3i Atlas, saying essentially it's a variation on the good, the bad, and the indifferent. That whoever's behind 3i Atlas is either very good extraterrestrials, very bad extraterrestrials, or indifferent. They're just like an evolved consciousness. And so I'm wondering, and I just wanted to raise this with you, is it possible that what we're looking at here are different timelines? And in each of those timelines, one is 3i Atlas is Draco reptilian, another one it's friendly extraterrestrials that are working with the white hats and Jedi admirals.
I have an idea in live, okay? Imagine this Draco in stasis is in prison. It's a prison. And the good beings maybe have imprisoned this Draco, and he passed through the universe to drop it in another things. Maybe. But I don't know. Maybe, but he's in stasis, so keep calm, everything is okay. They sleep.
Right. Well, yeah. On the one hand, that is alarming. But you had an experience at the end, what was it, in September of 2024, when we were at the conference in Denver, Colorado, where you saw, or you were told by your contact Victor, that there was a fleet of positive extraterrestrials that had arrived.
Exactly.
So you want to explain that, and is there a possible connection with this three-eye atlas?
Yes, now we have information. I can put the dots, but I remember at the end of the speaker table, in a round table in on the stage, I had this information a few days before. We were together in the car, and I think the girl was shopping, and we were together in the car. And I told you, Victor contacted me and told me there is a space fleet of the good beings enter our solar system, and they came from, I don't know why, but it was the good beings, but very a few vessel, a few spaceship. And when I tell this at this moment, a few months after, a few days later, at the same moments, they say there is a many strange object enter our solar system, look like a spaceship. Some papers say it's not but they say this. There is a strange space fleet, look like a space fleet, enter in our solar system. And now when we join the dots about tree atlas or swan or whatever, and we don't know if it's good or bad, but we know that in the 2023 September there is a space fleet came, that maybe something will happen in space because they know something at this moment. So my reflection is something happened. Maybe we don't know in Earth and we don't realize what's happened, but in space there is maybe a space battle between the good and evil, maybe, to protect the Earth.
Yeah, I suspect that there's different timelines converging here, and that three-eye atlas is a focal point for that.
Exactly.
Depending on where the consciousness of humanity is.
Yeah, you're right. For the different reality, I'm sure we are not at the right reality, because there is some very strange thing happen in a life to get today, and I say, that's curious, and after you go. But sometimes it happens something very strange, and I say, someone play with the timeline, because I have the sensation, the feeling, I did that before. And maybe for people with abilities with a different frequency, we felt that someone play a god, play with God, like tack, and pull some timeline for advantage, because that's not normal that we are again with a car, with a gasoline. It will be like a Back to the Future flying car and a lot of things. We don't supposed to be at this state now. It will be in a Starfleet, like a Star Trek, or someone break our evolution.
Yes, I totally agree that we this current level of civilization, the technology we use, gasoline, energy,
teleportation,
something's wrong. We're on the wrong timeline.
Exactly, and you felt this. You felt something is wrong. I can't explain, but I'm sure something is wrong. Did you feel that? And people say, yes, me too. But I can explain. That's because someone play with a timeline, with a time travel. I think someone can access with this and change some little things, but you feel it. You feel it. You think, oh, something, did you see my glasses was there? Or your pen disappeared in another place and you are sure don't touch this? You're not crazy? Because someone play with the timeline. I'm sure about this. I'm sure someone play with this technology.
That makes sense. And okay, so at some point we will get on the optimal timeline. I mean, that's the result of our collective efforts. So that kind of brings me to the end of our interview now. So let's kind of like again, why don't you just tell us about Starseed Revelation 2. It's now available today on Vimeo, October 23. The English version is available. And so, you want to tell us where do people go, Jean-Charles, to watch? I mean, how they can watch the English version of Starseed Revelation 3?
The English version is www.vimeo.com/on-demand/Revelation Starseed, but it's Starseed Revelation in English. It's inverse. Starseed Revelation 3. That's it. Not Revelation Starseed because it's a French version. So Starseed Revelation 3, and you go in the Vimeo website and voila.
Yes, it's vimeo.com/on-demand/Starseed Revelation 3.
Exactly, my friend. Exactly.
That's welcome. I want to congratulate you on the completion of another big video project. I know the tremendous work that must have gone into this. So congratulations. And I think the Japanese connection is a very, very important one. And I'm so glad to know you and to be educated about the history of the Japanese space program, space Arks, and these different entities involved in Japanese culture. So, I very much appreciate your wisdom and insights, Jean-Charles.
Thank you very much, my friend.
Okay, so there you go. So those of you that want to support Jean-Charles, just go to Vimeo to watch his latest Starseed Revelation 3, and the link will be in the description as well. So thank you and aloha, Jean-Charles.
Thank you, my friend.
You have been listening to Exopolitics today with Dr. Michael Salla. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe to this channel. Join or start a conversation in the comments. Take the time to explore the vast library of best-selling books, webinars, and podcasts by Dr. Salla. Visit exopoliticstoday.com.